In the previous episode, we kicked off the Systems Reset series. Today, we're talking about one area that shapes the client experience from the very beginning, especially in relationship-driven businesses. That's your onboarding process. Now, if you can relate to what I say in this episode, I highly recommend you go back and listen to the first episode in the Systems Reset series so you can see how all of these pieces connect. Welcome to the Mind Your Time podcast. I'm Shannon Baker, your coffee-loving host, business strategist, and systems expert. And I guide consultants towards systems that protect their time and elevate their expertise. So if you're ready to run a business that supports your life and not the other way around, you're in the right place. Each episode shares grounded strategies rooted in my Power in Motion framework to help you lead your client experience with clarity and confidence. So grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and let's dive in. Have you ever signed a new client and quickly found yourself chasing details, answering texts at random hours, or repeating the same instructions over and over again? If you're saying yes or nodding your head in agreement, it's probably because you don't have a system in place to do the heavy lifting on the front end for you. Now, last week in episode 1 of this Systems Reset series, we talked about why being great at what you do isn't enough if your business is running on duct-taped systems. Now, if you haven't tuned in already, I highly suggest you go back and do so. The quick win challenge in that episode was for you to make a list of where chaos is quietly stealing your time. Now, if you did that, I want you to grab your list now because in this week's challenge, we're going to take that list to the next step. But before we get to that, we're going to zero in on one of the biggest pressure points in your business. That's client onboarding. And that list that you made is going to help you spot exactly where the cracks are showing up in your business back end so that you can fix them. Because when there's no system in place, even when you land a dream client, onboarding can drain your energy. So today I'm going to share 3 lessons that I've learned through experience or from my clients and members of the Mind Your Time Society that will help you reset your onboarding process, protect your time, and start to lead your client experience with confidence. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I used to treat onboarding like something I just had to get through. I would send the contract right away because I was excited. I would create and send the invoice, but it required a number of emails back and forth. And honestly, it was inconsistent. And I'll never forget when this finally exposed the cracks in my process, or I really should say lack of process. It was a Saturday morning and a client called me out of the blue. She was panicking about something that we had already talked about in a number of emails, honestly, way too many emails. But instead of me, one, reminding her of my boundaries about my business hours and unscheduled phone calls, I dropped whatever I was doing and I just scrambled to get the problem solved. The problem with that, it wasn't that she was a bad client, but the problem was actually that I didn't have a clear process in place that set expectations or protected my time at the beginning of this new relationship. And actually, as I sat on and thought about it, I noticed that this was a recurring issue, but just in different forms with each new client. That was the day I realized when you don't have an onboarding system, you're not leading your clients, they're leading you. And now I'm a firm believer in training people to treat you the way you want to be treated. That teaches them to respect your time. So let's get into those 3 lessons. Lesson number 1. Let's talk about why new clients feel so messy. Let's be honest. Those first few weeks, they can feel like a fire drill. You're probably chasing down files, waiting for them to send you the right documents, the photos you need, or just simply give you access to their accounts. So you're sending reminder emails, but they're unanswered. And then they dump everything on you at once and you start to scramble and you're off on the race. Now, I know it's exciting to get a new client, but when this is happening, this process is also exhausting. So you end up spending hours on things that you can't bill for. And most of that is you just trying to get what you need to do your job. The worst part is that it leaves you feeling scattered and reactive, and you haven't even started the real work yet. So if your client onboarding feels this way, I want you to understand it's not because you're not capable of doing what you do. It's not because your clients don't value you, but it's because there wasn't or isn't a clear system controlling this process. So what happens? Well, when expectations aren't laid out clearly in advance, clients make up their own. And when your boundaries aren't clearly communicated, they default to what's convenient for them. And this is a big one. When your process is non-existent or it's inconsistent, you spend more energy putting out fires than you do delivering what they actually paid you to do. That's why things feel so messy with every new client and why they drain so much of your time and energy. Without structure, that relationship, it started on shaky ground. And once that tone is set, it is incredibly hard to change it. Now, in some cases, things go so far off track that the client ends the contract early and they don't realize that the real issue was just a lack of structure in your business, but it leads to a bad experience for them. And from their point of view, they blame the quality of your work. So here's the lesson I want you to take from this. If you don't set the tone from day one, or I should say the right tone from day one, your client is going to set it for you. I've seen this play out not just in my business, but with members inside the Mind Your Time Society as well. One member was completely overwhelmed by every new client onboarding experience. She would spend weeks chasing them down for photos and the videos that she needed to do her job. She needed them to approve the content she created for them. Approvals dragged on or were never received because everything was scattered across spreadsheets and different Google Drive folders. And honestly, she said she felt like she was nagging them all the time. And her clients were frustrated as well. So her confidence took a hit. And she really started to dread every new client experience because she knew it was going to be stressful. But once she put a real onboarding system in place, everything shifted for the better. She started using message templates that set the expectations from day one. She created a project management template in Airtable that she could duplicate for every new client. She showed them how to use this on the kickoff call. Everything was centralized, so her clients knew exactly where to upload the files. They knew how to review the content drafts, and the approval process became simple and they love it. The difference is night and day. She went from dreading every new client to feeling confident and in control. She also got her time back. Her clients were happier, and now that relationship feels more professional and controlled instead of chaotic and frustrating. How does she do this? Well, one of the tools that she used is the Welcome Kit workbook inside the Mind Your Time Society. It gave her back hours every week. And that's what happens when you lead with systems. And guess what? It's possible for you too. So let's talk about lesson number 2, which is about boundaries. You cannot hand them off. Now you might be thinking, okay, well, I'll just hire someone and they can take care of this for me. Well, my friend, you cannot outsource your boundaries. Yes, delegation is a smart move, but only when it's done strategically. If your back end is scattered right now, bringing in help is not going to solve the problem. It's going to expand it quickly. Because no matter how talented a VA is, they can't enforce boundaries that you haven't set. If you haven't decided how you're going to communicate with your clients, what turnaround times look like, what deadlines should look like, where information should be stored, the list goes on and on. Your VA is going to be stuck making it up as they go. And that doesn't set them up for success. It sets them up to fail. If your process isn't clear, your VA is going to be chasing the same files, managing the same back and forth emails, and juggling the same client issues and putting out fires, which are draining you right now. They can't hold boundaries you haven't set. And when that happens, they end up frustrated. You end up disappointed. And then that relationship fails. And who gets the blame? 9 times out of 10, it's the VA. That's why preparation matters. And this includes preparing yourself and your business. Leadership starts with you. And leadership in business doesn't mean just doing the work well. It means creating systems that protect your time, your energy, and your relationships with your client, your VA, and anyone else that you hire. And your boundaries can't come from your VA, your clients, or anyone else. That's non-negotiable. They have to come from you. When you set clear boundaries, you make it easier for both yourself and other people that you work with to follow your lead. And the good news, you don't have to figure this out alone. That's exactly why inside the Mind Your Time Society, members use the Welcome Kit and Onboarding Workbook. It has plug-and-play templates, scripts, and checklists that you can use to turn your boundaries into a professional process so clients know upfront how to work with you. And if you hire a VA, they can step into that system, and instead of trying to make it up as they go along, they just blend right in. And when you're ready to put all those pieces into words inside the Mind Your Time Society is also the MYT Welcome Kit Coach. It's a custom GPT that has been trained using the exact approach that I teach. It's like having me in your back pocket while you build your welcome kit. It's calm, clear, and aligned with the way you actually want to run your business. So here's some ways you can use it. To draft your client welcome email, to explain how you work without over-explaining, to create your call reminders, to clarify your office hours, so many other things as well. And when you combine this with that workbook, it gives you the structure that you need to communicate your boundaries clearly, set clear expectations for your clients, and they'll never be left guessing how to work with you. You can just enforce your boundaries. Remember, boundaries protect your business. If you don't set them, someone else will, but you probably won't like them. Now here's lesson number 3. Smooth onboarding is actually leadership. And this is the final piece of the puzzle today. Smooth onboarding isn't just about saving you time. It's about influence. When your onboarding is clear and consistent, clients see you as a leader from day one. And instead of trying to manage you or bend your process in their direction, they naturally fall into the system that you've created. Now, this is what that looks like. A kickoff process so you can set expectations right away. Templates that you use to keep communication simple and consistent. And boundaries that are built into your workflow so clients follow your lead instead of pulling you into theirs. Now, I will be real with you. Some clients are not going to love your structure at first. They may be used to working in a looser way, and at the beginning, it can feel like it's just one more thing that they have to adapt to. But the truth is, structure is service. The very same clients who hesitate in the beginning or kind of push back, They often become your biggest fans later because your process, when you stick to it, makes their life so much easier. They don't have to dig through their inbox for instructions. They don't have to wonder what's coming next, and they won't have to second guess how you work. Instead, they are confident in you and your ability to keep your word and get them what they're paying you for. They feel cared for, and most importantly, they are relieved because they know you are on it. And here's the ripple effect. When clients see you as a leader from day one, it changes how they engage with you the entire time they work with you. They respect your boundaries, they trust your expertise, and they stop treating you like an employee or just another service provider, and they start seeing you as a trusted strategic partner. Take my word for it. I have been working with one of my clients for over 10 years because of having an onboarding process. But this is also why the 90-day roadmap inside the Mind Your Time Society is so powerful, because you don't have to fix everything overnight. As a matter of fact, trying to do it all at once is what keeps so many service providers stuck. But that roadmap helps you jumpstart the process by breaking this into clear, doable steps. First, you focus on the system that will make the biggest difference for you right now in your business, and oftentimes that's onboarding or client communication. Then each week you take a small, manageable step that builds on the last one. So by the end of 90 days, not only have you plugged the biggest gaps in your back office and your client experience, but you've also created momentum that you can continue to build on. So instead of spinning your wheels or wasting energy trying to fix everything at once, you always know what to do next, and you can actually see progress, but you're not overwhelmed. That's how the roadmap helps you make the transition from being reactive and scattered to being calm, confident, and proactive, so you can create one system at a time. So the lesson for you, smooth onboarding is not just about being organized. It actually allows you to be a leader. And leadership is what elevates you and takes you from being on demand for tasks to being in demand for your expertise. So now let's talk about this week's quick win challenge. Remember last week, I asked you to write down the top 3 things you repeat with every client. That can be questions, instructions, or reminders that you see coming up over and over again. That list is the starting point of your system. So now this week, I want you to choose just one of those things that you wrote down so we can get it out of your head and into a repeatable format. You can save it as a message template, drop it into a Google Doc, or simply create a form a new client can complete. The format doesn't really matter right now. What matters is that you've taken the first step toward leading your client relationships forward instead of reacting to them. And here's why this step matters. This is exactly how members of the Mind Your Time Society start building their onboarding systems. Everyone starts small. They document one thing, they plug it into the Welcome Kit and onboarding workbook so it becomes a professional process that works for every client. See, when you do this, you're not just creating a shortcut for yourself. You're practicing the exact habit that makes onboarding smooth, repeatable, and professional. And when you plug that template from that workbook into the coach, man, you come out with a professional system that you can use with every client. Okay, so let's recap the 3 big lessons I want you to take away today. Number 1, things feel messy with new clients because there isn't a clear system guiding the process. And without that structure, you're feeling scattered, you're reactive instead of proactive, and you're spending hours doing things you cannot bill for. Lesson 2, boundaries start with you. It's non-negotiable. You can't delegate them or expect clients to magically know how you work. And delegation is a strategy, not a shortcut. When you prepare your business by getting your systems and boundaries in place first, you set both yourself and anyone else that works with you up for success. Lesson 3, smooth onboarding is not just about getting everything organized. It's leadership. So even if some of your clients resist the structure at first, they will come to appreciate it because it makes their life easier. And when you lead the process and stick to it, clients see you as a trusted partner, not just another service provider. So in a nutshell, every client relationship succeeds or fails based on your system or your lack of having one. And when you lead with clarity from day one, clients will follow your lead with trust and respect. So that's it for this week. Now, if this episode hit home and you're ready to simplify your onboarding process, here's your next step. Go to theshannonbaker.com/checklist and download the free back office power checklist. It's going to show you exactly where the cracks are in your back end, starting with your client communication and new client onboarding. And when you're ready to fix those cracks and stop scrambling and start leading, I would love to see you inside the Mind Your Time Society. And as soon as you join, you get access to the starter stack, which includes the Welcome Kit and Onboarding Workbook, the 90-day roadmap, and the Welcome Kit Coach. It helps you put it all into words, put them all together. It creates a repeatable process, a smooth, professional onboarding process your clients are going to love, and you will too. Imagine going into the next quarter with clients who follow your lead instead of it draining your time. That's exactly what the Mind Your Time Society helps you build. And the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to feel the difference. Every week you delay is another week you're stuck chasing clients for files, repeating yourself, and burning hours you can't bill for. But one small reset today can completely change how your next client relationship feels. Because clients are always going to be clients. But with the right system in place, you stop scrambling and you start leading. Now, don't forget, this is just episode 2 in the Systems Reset series. Next week in episode 3, we're going to shift gears and talk about your calendar. I'm going to talk about why poor scheduling doesn't just cost you time, but it also costs you the right clients. More importantly, I'm going to walk you through a few simple resets that are going to help you filter out the wrong fit clients and projects and give you back time and energy. So make sure you hit follow, and I will meet you right back here next week for episode 3. Thank you for tuning in today. If this episode feels like a breath of fresh air, it's because you're already craving a business that supports your life, not one that steals your time. If you want help spotting what's quietly draining your time and energy, you can download the Back Office Power Checklist at theshannonbaker.com/checklist. And if this conversation resonated with you, make sure you're following the podcast on your favorite platform so you don't miss what's next. We'll keep breaking this down together, one intentional step at a time. So until next time, keep calm and streamline.